Rigging out your Pocket 4 or 6K is probably the most popular topic on YouTube these days. And I know it's pretty cool to see someone build out their cinema rig, but is it really that useful? Well, I don't really think so, because 60% of the time I find myself only using the body, the cage, the lens, and an ND filter. There's also a lot of misconception out on the web, because in these Facebook groups a lot of people think that you cannot even use the Pocket 4K without a cage or without an external battery or something. They work fine on Canon LPE6 batteries. You can continuously record for 20 minutes, which you'll probably never do if you walk on the street, and you can probably record an entire day with 8 of these little guys. I typically use 3 different rig configurations for different scenarios or different projects, and I'm gonna talk about all 3 of them. So let's start with the bare body. Feels like a gun. This is basically what I use whenever I go on a multi-day hike, splitboard tour, or like if I just don't want to bring too much weight with me, because it packs all the power that you need. You just bring a few of these batteries and you're good to go. But I must say, if I have the luxury of a car or a hotel room, or it's just one day of hiking, I usually bring this setup. It's a little heavier, thus gives me a little bit more control and smoother footage, and it allows me to use my tripod. The way I use it is pretty simple. I just hold it like you would hold any photo camera basically. Put my hand on my P-long plate and then just use my thumb and my index finger, I think it's called, to focus. And this way I can be very versatile, run around, run and gun, and all that good stuff. So that is this. The next setup I use is basically the one that I've been using in Portugal, and that is a newer version of my rig build, and that is because I am using the salty surf housings. In order to use the surf housing, you're required to build out your camera a little bit differently. I use this one. It is a 47 watt-hour V-Lock battery basically that you can put on the bottom of your camera, stick a dummy battery in it, and basically run it for like 3 or 4 hours straight. The cool thing about this one is that you can put a small SSD holder on top and it slides right into the salty surf housing. I needed a way to, take the camera out of the case and, start shooting with it straight away without having to configure it completely into the rig that I'm usually using. Also, to bring all that steel on the plane is a waste of weight. So I basically only brought this one, the camera, a few LPE6 batteries if I needed them, and the lens. And that is basically it. And it worked really well. I didn't bring a tripod because I knew I was going to do everything handheld. So yeah, pretty stoked on the outcome. If you haven't seen it, link is in the description below. The next one, and this is probably the biggest one, obviously, is basically this setup, and then some rods go in here. Then I put the cable from the V-Lock into the Blackmagic Pocket and make sure I use a top handle. Then I add the monitor, and then if the project needs it, I can also use a microphone on the side of the top handle. The good thing about this one is that the V-Lock allows you to shoot an entire day without having to turn off the camera, because the battery consumption of the Blackmagic Pocket 4K is pretty low, so you can basically run an entire day on this 49 watt-hour battery. Another cool thing is that this is super stable. The shots I made in the car from the last video I posted, Dark Waters, is basically shot like this. And how I did it, I got a lot of questions about it, how I got it so stable. It's basically done like this. This is always what I do with this configuration. Just put the V-Lock against my chest, same thing, put my hand on the P-long plate, and then use my thumb and index finger to focus. And usually I have a screen here as well, and then just look into the screen. And this is just such a nice extension of your body, and it becomes a lot more stable. And if you guys are new to filmmaking and you don't know what I'm talking about, basically the bigger and heavier the camera, the less jitters that are produced through your body or through the environment you're in will translate itself into the camera body. For example, you're sitting in a car, a lot of these little bumps and vibrations will otherwise be visible in the footage. But if you have a bigger rig like this and you put it against your chest, you'll notice that the footage that comes out of it is a lot smoother and will look a lot better. So yeah, that is basically it. The thing though with these rigging videos is that everybody tries to convince you that this is well, not this, but you know, like if you put a monitor, but you know, my monitor is right here. If you put a monitor on top of that, oh no, it's in the frame. No, it's not in the frame. But you know, if you put a monitor on top of that, that is the rig that you need. If you don't have that, you cannot shoot cinematic footage. But that's total bullshit, really. If you just use this one, the footage will be exactly the same. A little bit less stable, but exactly the same. This entire rig will not determine the look of the image. Yeah, so keep that in mind when you decide to buy rigging equipment, all right? So that's basically it. That's all I wanted to say in this video. It's just a little statement from my end, not really, you know, like a very cool cinematic video, but just a statement I wanted to make to all new filmmakers or to all new people that are willing and trying to buy the Pocket 4K in 2021, which I, by the way, totally think it's a good value or like a good deal. So definitely do it, because this camera is probably not gonna get old anytime soon. That was my backlight. Nice. You know, maybe the light just told me I needed to quit. I'm rambling too much. So thank you for watching, and I hope this video was a little bit helpful, you know, that you can now decide whether you really need all that equipment or if you just stick to this one. Let me know in the comments below what you decide to do, because I would love to hear. And also if you need some extra information or like you have some questions, just, you know where to find me, either on YouTube or Instagram or whatever. Send it like pigeon, fine too. All right, cool. See you guys.